Hey friends, it's Joe. Today it is 72 degrees in Tokyo and I think it's 5:11 in the morning or so. Today we finally have a nice long walk. We're going to go 2.25 miles today because we're building up to walking a 5K. So I'm going to pop you on my head and we can get going. But I hope you're doing well. Alright, oh no, you're tangled up. Here we go. Let's see. Get you up on my perch. So today was a pretty major accomplishment. We're at the start of week 3. I'll turn on the tracker once we get to the bottom of the stairs, but we finally made it to the 3rd week, friends. How you feeling? It's exciting. Yesterday was Father's Day for me, so that kind of gives you an idea of what time of year it is. We're in like late June. Is that how you'd say that? Let me click my start. And
begin workout.
Begin workout. So today we're gonna get some real mileage. So just like any day, we're gonna make sure we tuck our tailbone, pull in our core, have a good lean, walk with good form. You might be a little sore. I'm sore for some different reasons. I typically don't really go out very often because we have 3 small children, but yesterday we got a babysitter and we went to this place called What the Dickens, which is a like a traditional either Irish or British pub. I think it's British. It was hard to tell, but the owners definitely had a thick accent from somewhere on that island, which was exciting. And then it was we had a couple friends who were playing music, and I'm a musician, so it's really nice. But definitely overdrew on our fun account a little bit. 1 second. So we definitely overdrew on our fun account. So if you don't know what a fun account is, right? Like, let's say you know when you should go to bed, right? But then you really start enjoying some new Netflix series like Sanctuary. Sanctuary is a sumo show, which is fantastic. 10 out of 10, in my opinion. Has mixed reviews in Japan because it's trying to show some of the bad undercurrents of sumo wrestling. So there's some cultural pushback because sumo wrestlers are held in such high regard. But you decide like, one more episode. And then you decide, another episode. And you keep pulling fun. The problem is if you overdraw, you're pulling fun from the next day in the event that you do wake up the next morning, right? So last night we stayed out a little bit late. I had a couple of adult beverages, which I don't really drink all that much. I don't share that to be virtuous or anything like that. It's just not something that's part of my habitual life. I'm rarely intoxicated, but 4:30 a.m. hit a little different today. Across lack of sleep, a little bit more alcohol than what is the norm, and I just woke up and my body is like, ow, because you don't recover the same way. If you're drinking a lot, it kind of, your body's focusing on processing that, and you're pulling from your sleep. So like all my muscles were like, no. My brain was like, no. And here I am. So that's the major accomplishment. Is we still showed up. We're still getting it done. Actually, Sunday was really nice. I didn't do any kind of workout-y thing. I thought about doing Beat Saber, and then I got lost in a project trying to do Beat Saber the way I wanted, which would be like mixed reality, where you could play the game but film it so you see part of yourself overlaid with the game. It didn't happen. I think I burned like 3 hours on that at 4:30 in the morning because I always thought I was this close to almost solving the problem, and I just wasn't solving the problem. And that's how my brain works. I get hung up. It's tough. But what was nice is I didn't do a workout there, but then Felicia reminded me that it was Father's Day and that I could eat wherever I wanted for lunch. And I was like, well, wherever I want, like, shoot, that's a pretty open option for me. Like, how far out are we talking? Because we had this date night planned with the babysitter coming at 5. So I was like, we gotta hit the drop point at 5 for releasing the kids. But at the same time, like, the good food's kind of away, and I was like, you know, Mexican's really nice. And it's hard to find in Japan. And the best, well, there's 2 different good Mexican experiences that I found in Japan. And I'm sure there's more, but they're just rare. There's, as you would anticipate, there's not a large Mexican population in Japan, but they're there. One of our best friends is from Mexico. I grew up, I almost said on the north side of the island. Grew up on the north border of Mexico. I forgot what area, but yeah, that's actually who we were out with last night. Good people. Jorge. So yeah, I decided, I was like, I want Mexican. And there's this place called Guzman's, and it is a 10 out of 10. Like, the hardest part is, like, you can get Mexican food in different areas, but something's always broken or wrong with it. Like, flavor wise, just something's adrift. Like, the guacamole's off, or the barbacoa is off because it's not really barbacoa. Which is, barbacoa is my jam, man. That is like, I can eat barbacoa every single day. It's just tender, delicious. But we went to Guzman's, which is a trip for our family. It was like 2 or 3 trains away. But they have, like Chipotle. They're not Chipotle, right? Chipotle, you got the whole layout. Here you order a meal and it shows up. But they have your 6 meat options across carnitas and barbacoa, ground beef, chicken. I think they even have something vegetarian, which is pretty cool because Japan doesn't cater well to vegetarians, gluten-free, stuff like that. So I always try to collect restaurants like that so that I can help people when they come here. It's just unfortunate most of the time those restaurants aren't Japanese style. So we trek out there with 3 little kids. Whew. You're doing good, by the way. You're probably 0.5 miles at this pace. Let me check. Not even. 0.3. 0.37. Thought we were doing better than we are. Walking at a 20-minute mile pace, so you'll be done in about, I don't know, 40 minutes. You're doing lovely. Keep it up. Yeah, burrito party was a good time. So I got a miniature carnitas burrito. Carnitas is just like, I think it's braised or slow cooked pork. But then they also have a little bit of fusion. Like, they have loaded French fries, but they got like the guacamole, the salsa, whatever meat you want on top, and they're very generous with the meat. So that's actually, I went for a light burrito and a regular French fry, loaded fries with barbacoa. That was a 10 out of 10. That was worth the trouble. And that location's out in Harajuku. So if you ever come to Japan, Harajuku's pretty nice. It's definitely an experiential place. And it's walking distance from Omotesando and Shibuya. You can actually walk from one to the next, or you can hop trains. But the streets that connect them all is where all the shops and the restaurants are. So if you want that compressed vertical world experience that's Japanese branded, walking between those 3 little districts and eating along the way, it's probably a good time. So we went from Harajuku, where we were eating, to Yoyogi Park, which is right on the edge of Harajuku. But this is one of the first times where we really got out and about without a big double stroller. We brought a smaller umbrella stroller, which means that the bigger tots, our 6-year-old Hezekiah and our 4-year-old Akari, did a lot of walking. But even she's not a newborn anymore, oh my goodness. Emiko's like just past 2 years, maybe 2 months, something like that, 2 to 3 months. I don't know, I should know these things. I always freeze up on birthdays whenever I'm doing forms. It's mainly the years that get me. I can always get the day correct. But even Emiko did a lot of walking. We probably did 2 or 3 miles of walking around those areas, as well as some nice biking to get to various stations. So it was a lot of fun. But it's empowering just because, like, we're able to do things we couldn't do because our kids are getting a little bigger, a little bit more independent, and those areas are like very crowded. I actually avoid them most of the time just because it's also touristy. I prefer Japanese experiences where it's mainly Japanese. So there's a big flock of international tourists. I'm normally like, and part of it's because I've done a lot of those things. Not all of them. There's always something we could do. Like, we've never climbed Fuji. Just hasn't been a priority or an interest. But I typically steer people away from the known touristy things in Japan. But for some of you, like, you go spend a day out there. But I would much rather point someone towards like Yoyogi Park than Shibuya. But people need the Shibuya experience if they don't live in Japan. For me, it's normal. Like, we lived 1 train station away from it. So when I go out there, it's not like, I would compare Shibuya to like Times Square in Tokyo. Like, there's a lot of advertisements, a lot of vertical buildings, huge Shibuya Scramble crosswalk with just a herd of people walk across it. So for me, with 3 kids, 6 and under, that's just a trigger. Like, I'm like, why would we go out of our way to go to that intersection, to cross it and lose a child forever? Which probably won't happen, but those are the things you feel as a parent. Oh, nice. I didn't know Nissan had electric vehicles. Oh, do they have the Leaf? Sorry, that's an engineering tangent. So, but you know, if you have kids, you should still go. That's experiential. If you're solo, like, go explore it. Shibuya has a nightlife, which, as we've learned from this morning, overdrawing on my fun account, I don't really have a nightlife. My nightlife is hopping on a Zoom, hanging out with US engineers, and doing work, and being exhausted. By the way, please don't model your life off of my sleep schedule. It does not make sense. It is still not optimized. I'm still tired quite often. So that's a thing in my world, is like figuring out how to still be a morning person and use this time and space to focus on fitness and getting my mind right, while still staying up late enough to do my job with US folk. Space for a nap in the middle. Like, it's bizarre. It's not, I'm not like pushing a 3rd shift or anything. I have boundaries. But please don't do what I do concerning sleep. Now, if you're in an international, global kind of role, then by all means, reach out to me. I would not mind setting up. Bees! I normally don't react to bees that way, but that one was a little bit closer than I prefer, and I like to respect my distance from those. Oh, that'll probably end up being a clip on TikTok. But anyway, that was actually a sharp enough like recoil, reactionary fight or flight, that I lost my core, and I felt that in my lower back. It's fun being 30, 31 technically. I can't even hold on to being 30 anymore. So that is Tamagawa. Gawa means river. Tama, it's the Tama River. Yet I often say when I talk with Felicia, like, it's the Tamagawa River, that's the Tama River, because Tamagawa's its name. This is new. Wow, this is where they gave up. They had a whole bunch of construction out here. This was all walled off. They're clearly trying to make a road across. It's just a very interesting place to finish a project. They're like, and road base. Get rid of the fences. Project's over. We'll come back to that in a year when we build a road. Because clearly they're gonna work towards something different now. But I mean, they had cranes and all kinds of stuff. And now we just have this beautiful, whatever that is. It's like the Bean in Chicago. I'm from Chicagoland area, so I used to go out go see the Chicago Bean. It's like just a big shiny piece of metal in the middle of the city. Never really understood the infatuation with it, but I still participated in it. I was like, I rode 2 hours worth of train for this. Then 2 years later, you still find yourself back at the same bean taking selfies. So friends, we're creeping up on a mile. Keep it up. Ohio gozaimasu. Got a couple morning walkers. That bee attack, that recoil got me. I'm a little sore. Let's see if I can get my core and my form back. And it's so interesting. Like 4 weeks ago now, I ran a half marathon. I was trained up to the 13.2 miles, and the program's restarting, right? So I'm only at, today it'll be 2.25, and yet I start off with anxiety on like, can we actually make it that far? I'm like, am I gonna be able to finish this workout today? Can I go 2.25 miles? Yes, Joe. Yes, you can. And if it was life or death, you could probably go 10 miles right now if you needed to. Would you hurt afterwards? Yes. Which is why we'll build up to it again. But it's definitely something you like train up to. And then you, if you stop and go to other things, another bee bug thing. Jeez. Obstructing my path. But it's definitely one of those things where like, you don't want to just show up for a run. There's YouTube videos of people doing that where it's like, oh, my buddy's never trained. Today he's gonna run a mile, and you just watch a person suffer. But they do it. You could willpower anything. But a lot of those people are normally like gym bros that have some level of conditioning they're just not really conditioned to do that kind of exercise. So I kind of approach it as maintenance now. But eventually it'd be fun where I could just target a couple runs, keep my training light, and then show up and do it. But for safety, I normally always work backwards from a run, build up to it, and then after the run, build back down a little bit until I have something else to train to. Ohayou gozaimasu. So, where things will get interesting is marathons. Because I'm thinking about training for a marathon. Marathon's a long time, okay? I've done that. It's like 5 hours of running. It's possible. Where you're starting in the program, that might seem unfathomable, right? So a half marathon sounds great. It's only 2.5 hours. And actually, I should be more specific. It's more than 5 hours for me to do a marathon, because the half marathon I did was 2 hours and 50 minutes. So assuming I held that pace consistently, getting winded, then we would have been looking at almost 6. Hey!
20 minutes and 19 seconds.
Let's go.
Split pace 20 minutes 19 seconds per mile.
That's not a bad pace. You're doing great. Keep it up, friends. Now, maybe you overdrew on your fun account yesterday. Although I find that hard to believe. Most people don't go hard on Sunday. But for some reason, our friends were playing a gig on a Sunday night. So that was our only date night pocket to go and have a little bit of fun. Normally Mondays we start off more sober than this. So thanks for being with us, friends. You definitely don't want to start every workout this way. And for some of you, like when you have that day, you might tend towards more sleep, breaking routine. That is okay as well. I just care that you do it. Whether you do it now or later, do it. Everything's sequential. Like, this might not be a perfect 16 weeks for you. A lot of the programs that I've done in the past, I either skip a couple workouts to stay on the rhythm of the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday kind of thing, or I let it unfold. Or sometimes the rest day is Sunday, sometimes the rest day is Tuesday, but I'm gonna get through all of the workouts, and it ends up taking 20 weeks instead of 16. So like, you know yourself, your rhythm, your routine, you're doing something new. Some of these workouts are probably much longer than you're used to because I'm not fast. Both with the running, I'm gonna stretch from it. Both with the running, do a couple deadlifts. Oh, that's great. I gotta find my glutes again, I lost them. So, because these workouts aren't perfectly timed and quick, it might be hard to fit them in sometimes. Or you might have to break off and just look at what the program is for the day and go out and do it solo because I'm talking too much, or I have a 2-minute parenting intermission. Or I think, was it yesterday, 2 days ago? I think I was lifting and then I decided to stall on a story about Coach Garbett running out of the bushes. You're like, on your faces. I think it became a story I wanted to tell without thinking about like lifting weights. But like, some y'all don't have time for story time. You gotta get to work. Well, I mean, I have to get to work too, but so I've built up over time of carving out more space for fitness because I like what it does for my mindset, well, and my body. But again, it's nothing aesthetic. Like, I've been editing the video, so I finally got through all the week 0 stretches. There's like 1 or 2 stretch workouts where when I would lift my arms up, I think it's the flow workout or something, every time I would do a yoga-y pose, like a warrior 1, warrior 2. The running shirt just immediately lifted up, and it's all like belly underhang. There is nothing I have done in the last couple years that has like attacked the belly underhang and got rid of it. I still don't like it. I don't like looking at it, but I'm in the best shape I've been in years. I had done a half marathon, or no, I did almost a full marathon in college my senior year. I made it 22 miles out of the 26. Yeah, I made it 22 miles and they canceled it because of lightning. So I've never completed a marathon. I'm an honorary participant. I did the training, I almost did it. And then I entered the workforce and started having kids and had a much more sedentary job and lifestyle, and definitely put on weight. Had a missions trip where I twisted and threw a kid around in the water, and that wrecked my back, which was debilitating. So I lost the ability to do plyometric kind of exercises and pulled off of running almost altogether. Started doing physical therapy, started getting things in the right place. Also, we're at 1.25 miles, so I'm going to turn it back. So we're a little bit over half. So we'll probably end around the little meditation spot. We'll see. So I just went way downhill in my late 20s. Like, life got hard and busy. Wasn't able to prioritize it. And then the Japan stuff hit. So our family was offered this job. I don't know if I've told this story yet on the program or not, but we were offered the opportunity to move to Japan. So the role was the front-end innovation lead. It's the front-end innovation lead. I'd come to Japan, understand Japanese needs, and then lead a team in the US to develop new surgical technologies to meet those needs. Super cool job on paper. I was offered that in February 2020. The US closed their borders or closed international travel to Europe March 2020, and then the world exploded for 2 to 3 years. I'm sharing that because someone might do this program in 60 years because it'll still be on YouTube, and they'll be like, what was COVID? Is that like Y2K? Which is one of my generational memories that's been lost to the next generation, right? But yeah, so COVID hit pretty hard because I wasn't even walking around the office for meetings. I was standing in my basement. Actually, my first work from home desk was on top of a stand-up piano. I like set up a couple monitors in the piano room. We had taken a foster care placement. So we had 2 bio kids, ages 4 and 2, and 2 foster kids, ages like 9 months, and I think 3. So we had 4 kids 4 and under. That was stupid. I mean, no, it wasn't stupid. It was like, we prayed about it. It felt right in the moment. We protected some vulnerable children that eventually got reunited with their parents. It is beautiful, but like, we weren't equipped to do that. So that actually sent like Felicia into depression. And actually, as the foster care placement ended, we were expecting our 3rd child, but we didn't have an end date for foster care in sight. That came maybe 2 months after we learned we were pregnant. So when we were expecting baby Emiko, we were so fatigued, overwhelmed by 4 under 4. We couldn't imagine 5 under 5, you know? So that was the first child that we were gonna have that we didn't immediately receive that news with like joy or excitement, because we planned our other 2 kids. And that was a fun thing to navigate from a mental health perspective, and with some support and therapy. I think the foster kids ended up back with their bio mom. We went on a vacation to Orange Beach, And that was like the first moment in a 10-month stretch of COVID and everything where we were able to just dwell and enjoy life as a nuclear family of 4 expecting a 5th, and kind of reset and look forward to Emiko. Emiko's great. We like having 3 kids. That all panned out well. But those are the things you process. So anyway, we're offered this job. Job's canceled. Living pretty sedentary life. And then we're re-offered the job. And then we ended up relocating 12 times in 1 year trying to get to Japan, which is just wild. So totally unplanned. We ended up moving out of our house because we sold it thinking we'd move to Japan quickly. That was a lie, like just a bad assumption. So we lived out of multiple hotel rooms and 2-bedroom apartments in both Chicago and Cincinnati. So we didn't have the space for regular fitness routine or for meal prep. And we're trying to navigate our own trauma from the relocations and the trauma of our kids, and we wore that on our bodies. So we just kept dipping, right? Now, in parallel to that, I had started to do physical therapy regularly, so I was regaining some safe movement in my body, like getting a little bit more control, learning how to squeeze the walnut. I still got to make that shirt. I'm really excited about that shirt. It's gonna be a fun shirt. I'm like a little bit creative but not talented artistically, so when I have an idea for a project, it makes me excited, even if my drawings look like a 5-year-old did it, because that's what I'm capable of. I'm an engineer working on surgical technology, and I peak at stick figure, you know. But just to continue to distract you and possibly motivate you. The reason I carve out so much time for fitness and exercise is because I just went through such a crappy health journey for my 20s into my 30s. And now that we're a year and 4 months into life in Japan, like, I'm finally finding a rhythm of health that works for me. Even when I still do a stretch and lift my arms and my belly hangs out and I record that. That belly holds the experiences of the last 8 years of COVID, 3 kids, foster care, adjusting to life in the real world, sitting at a desk, enjoying too much food, right? All the poor decisions. So I'm only a year and 4 months into really an active recovery and turnaround, and I want to set sustainable long-term goals that are focused on mobility, distance I can travel on my body, health, wellness, active movements. My goals aren't set on weight and aesthetics. That stuff can come. I believe that'll happen. If I train up to a half marathon, like, my body will cut some level of weight. That's a lot of distance. Even training up to a half marathon, like, there's probably some weight gain there, but I also want to hit the strength work hard. Muscle's heavier than fat, so there's a trade-off. I'm probably dropping fat weight, probably putting on muscle. I'm leaning out a little bit, but the scale is not the best indicator for me based on how much I want to put on strength so that I can run with safe form. Whereas there's other people that are going to be more elite runners that drop weight so they can go, and then they have like they're running with less muscle and less fat. So everyone's got a different build, a different on-ramp, but that's why I can carve out 2 hours for a workout, because it's something that's important to me based on where I've been and the journey I'm on or where I'm going. But for you, if you're starting out and you are at your rock bottom, or or you're on the rise because you've been with me for 2 weeks, and let's pretend that that's been helpful. Probably is, maybe it's been helpful. I don't know, I'm hoping it's helpful. Otherwise, I'm just doing this for me so I can talk and process. Like, if you were on the rise or at rock bottom and you're starting, and then you see that a strength workout is gonna take you 50 minutes based on whatever I was able to do on YouTube, and the stretch workouts another 15 minutes, and you're looking at an hour and 5 minutes, and prior to that your activity time and space carved out for exercise was 10 minutes or nothing, right? Like, that's a big jump. So give yourself grace. Each of the lift workouts for the first block are 2 to 4 sets. I average on 3 because that's what I think I can do in a reasonable amount of time. But when I wasn't filming the workouts, like, I was pushing up to like 5 sets after training with MooseABoot for 150 days or whatever. I didn't start there, but I pushed in that direction because I like to keep making progress and growing and challenging myself. But you got to modify and start where you're at. Oh no, Obasan took our stairs. Come on, Grandma. I don't want to rush her, but I also don't want to pass her. I try to be really sensitive. Oh, she's quick. She's gaming. Climbing them stairs. Shoot. Japanese mobility's wild. Let's see. Assuming she pushed the button. Let's keep going. That was super thoughtful. Did y'all see that? She actually didn't push the button so that it would stop cross traffic. She just like looked and crossed with some level of discretion. I've never seen that because normally no one will cross the street unless there's a green hand or a green person. Whew, I'm a little winded. Let's do a couple breaths. Those doubles are awesome, man. I'm so glad I learned that. I didn't figure that out until maybe 4 months ago. It helps dramatically for me just to do those double kind of forceful inhales through my nose, because I'm also a mouth breather. So I do the double and like a more sustained push out. If I do 3 to 5 of those, it normally gives me more control. Also, and I think I've shared this as well, like I normally run and walk alone in silence, so it is a totally new skill for me to learn how to communicate, kind of come alongside you in your journey as I'm still getting my work in. So breath work is an area where I will probably be actively researching the next couple months just to see what I can do. Just to see what I can do. All right. The world's waking up. We're doing good. You want a distance check? Here, we'll do a distance check. It's fun. Where are we at? 1.87. You're doing good. You only got, what, 0.13 miles, 0.12 miles, plus another 0.25. That's nothing. We'll be done in like 6 minutes. Easy. Soon we'll be flying like that guy. See, that's actually future you, right? Future me. Not with that build necessarily. Well, he had a pretty good stockier build. Like, I love watching people with gray hair run. It's one of my favorite things, especially when they're faster than me. You know, because when I see someone who's 50 or 60 still out on their body, still putting in miles, and I can like tell they have a good pace, they're running with safe form for them, like, those are the things that are really inspiring to me, because it shows me decades of consistency. Like, that individual has continued to show up for themselves so they can be better and show up for other people. And I think that's really cool. I gotta wake up earlier. Y'all are like, shut up, Joe. You're already getting up at 4:30. What do you mean waking up earlier? But I like the silence. I like not seeing people. And I'm like, there's too many people out. But once we start running, the pace will be a little quicker, so it won't be as bad. And actually, it's a little bit less awkward when you run past someone with a GoPro in your head versus walking. Because it's like, why is some bro just walking around this town with a GoPro on his head every 3 days? Like, that's just odd. This isn't a touristy area, and I'm not even doing anything performative athletically that should warrant it, right? Because we're not there yet.
Total distance 2 miles. Total time 40 minutes.
Nice.
53 seconds.
2 miles, y'all.
Pace 20 minutes 34 seconds per mile.
Actually, that was really consistent, because we did 20 minutes, I think 16 seconds the first mile. Second one we did 20 minutes 30 seconds, which is pretty good. It's so funny, I saw that guy running and I was like looking at his form, because I watch stuff like that to see what to emulate. I was like, I don't know about that form. It looks a little bit higher impact than I would like. And I looked at the back of his shirt and it said ultra runner. I was like, he's probably fine. He probably knows what he's doing. If that guy wants to throw down 100 miles running that way, he knows what works for his body. But initially it was like, let me just like throw a little stone and see if that looks good or not. And it's like, no, that stone comes right back. I don't know what I'm doing. That guy does. Who knows, maybe one of you will get addicted to the new health and vitality you find in this program. You learn how to run for the first time in a way that's safe and empowering for your body. You enjoy the space to kind of be out in nature and enjoy sunshine and reflect. You start prioritizing this and you can't stop. That's one of the problems. Running is a lot like music. Like, once you learn, say you're a guitarist, right? And you start off on a really crappy guitar and you learn a couple songs that inspire you, and then you go to a music store and you grab another guitar and you start to realize, like, this one, it's $400 more, but just has a little bit of a better tone, and I could do just a little bit more. This opens things up for me. And you pick up that guitar and you keep working that guitar, you master it at that level, and you go and you pick up a Taylor. Taylor's like, I don't know, $3,000. You start playing that and you're like, you know, there's a little bit more of a tone. There's something there that's really, you just feel it. You pick that up. Like, you can keep stepping up guitars and music and like having those experiences. Running can become like that for some people. I'm not fully there, where it's like, first it's a 5K and you run your first 5K race, and we're gonna work towards that. That can be something you fit into the program. actually doing it as a race. But then you go from the 5K and you're like, this is great. Like, it was hard, I was sweaty, I was wheezing, but like, I got a medal. Like, those little things can start to like hook us psychologically, which isn't a bad thing. So then it's a 10K. And then from a 10K, after accomplishing that, being consistent with training, maybe you've lost a little bit of weight, so the impact's pulled off your hips or knees, so running feels better. Even if you don't get a true runner's high, which we'll talk about that later, like, from there, maybe you move on to a half marathon. You do the whole program, 16 weeks, you love it. And that stacks, and they're like, all right, well, I really want to run a half marathon, and I want to get out to Boston. Like, you do like an experiential run. Actually, Boston's a very hard one to get into. Maybe you want to run in Peoria, Illinois. some nowhere town, but you're excited. You can keep climbing with running into the ultra space. So there's probably one of you, maybe more, will reach that point. We got 0.4 miles, y'all. Very, very close. I think let's end with a little bit of river time. We're right here. The workout's 2.25. So I'll get you to a true 2.5 though. So we'll go past this a tiny bit and come back. Just because we feel like being completionists for a minute. 2.3. We'll walk to 2.4 and swing back. Easy. Y'all did it. You hung out with me. Looks like we're going on 45 minutes. So hopefully I provided adequate distraction for you. Or at this point in the video, you muted me just so you can follow the person view walk. Ugh. But congratulations. So yeah, I'm gonna take a little bit of time just to pause this workout.
Workout paused.
Reflect and pray. And maybe, yeah, we have the demotivations for the strength workout. Maybe I'll let you set an affirmation for your week. So just think about where you want to be by the end of this week, how you can show up for yourself, where you might find a little bit more empowerment, a little bit more strength, what you want to focus on. So I'll give you, 3 to 10 minutes to kind of think about that. And feel free for accountability to put that in the comments, just what you're focusing on this week and how that can give you a sense of pride, confidence, or empowerment on your journey, as opposed to all the things that'll set you back. All right, I'll stop talking. Have fun, y'all. Well, anyway, friends, thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed today's workout. Tomorrow you have Moose Stretch A, Moose Lift A, week 3. See you around, friends.